again, everybody. Welcome back to the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. We got to talk about some WWE stuff today. We had a huge Raw this past week. It was the 30th anniversary of Raw. God, I feel old because I remember watching the very first episode in 1993, but you guys already knew I was old. But we're going to talk about that, a couple other things that happened in the world of WWE and sports entertainment this week. But before we get into that, if we're talking about sports entertainment, I would suggest to you not to get that WWE credit card. I have done a video about that on my Wrestling with Finance channel, so you can go check that out because they hawk that thing. And yeah, just check out the video, and you can check out all kinds of stuff on the Wrestling with Finance channel, and you can look down in the description box below for some offers that are free, for free stuff, basically free money, and you might as well take it because these days any kind of free money you can get is probably a good thing. But let's talk first and foremost about Raw 30 or XXX. Ooh, it's almost kind of like a Attitude Era harkening back there with the XXX tag and logo. People have been talking all week about seeing the signs of Vince McMahon's influence on the company again, now that all the things have changed. I watched some of the show. I didn't watch the entire thing. I caught the rest of it on clips. But the biggest highlights for me personally were I absolutely enjoyed two segments. The rest of them kind of fell flat. I will also note that this was in Philly, right? So I note that the crowd seemed dead for a lot of the stuff on the show. You had a cage match with Bayley against Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, clearly one of the most popular women wrestlers in modern wrestling history, and Bayley, who at one point in time looked like she was going to be the biggest female star in the business, and her group, Damage Control, jumping Becky, and the crowd was just, There's some other matches that were on the show, but most of the highlights, even if you look at WWE's own package highlight reel, it really wasn't focused on most of those matches. Bianca Belair pretty much squashed Sonya Deville. But there was one match on the card that absolutely had everybody's attention. We'll get to that in a second. The non-wrestling highlights of it, the sports entertainment stuff, was, you've got Baron Corbin, which is funny. You got the money guys throughout the generations. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, JBL, Happy Corbin, Baron Corbin playing a poker game. Baron wins with the help of JBL, but IRS comes in, Mike Rotundo, Bray Wyatt's dad, and collects his taxes because it is tax season, so he left him with $100. I thought it was funny. And then that was followed up with, of course, we've always got to do it on one of these retro shows in WWE. Ron Simmons got to make sure he gets his spot in to go, damn! Hogan was there, I think, or something. I didn't even see it. I heard the microphone issues where I don't know. Hogan, I can look at Hogan and appreciate him as the star he was back in the day, but modern day Hulk Hogan, I really don't. I'm not going to cancel him, but I don't really have time for him. I'm not particularly interested in this stuff, but there are fans that still do. So bully for them. But the two big things that I really took out of this one was what are we calling him now? LA Knight. him cutting a promo in the ring and calling out anybody. He's going to have this lights out match or whatever it is with Bray Wyatt at the Royal Rumble this Saturday, which I will be reviewing on this channel. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button, and the notification bell so you can see my review of that. But he got in the ring and said nobody wanted to face him. And of course, we got the gong. The Undertaker is coming back, but not quite. We got the American Badass, and not the big red or big evil American Badass, not the rolling Badass. We got the very original Judgment Day 2000 Kid Rock American Badass coming to the ring on a bike. It took him a while to get out there because I guess he couldn't get the bike through the entrance. But when he finally showed up, it was pretty awesome to see Taker out there confronting LA Knight, who tried to back off. And then you had Bray Wyatt coming out. And then this very interesting thing happened. Undertaker holds Knight, throws him to Wyatt. Wyatt hits the sister Abigail, but afterwards, Taker and Bray Wyatt, who did face each other at a WrestleMania match, which should have been way more epic than it actually wound up being back a few years ago, Taker said something to Bray Wyatt. Bray's reaction was very curious, and it has me and pretty much everybody in the sports entertainment world kind of wondering, what did Undertaker say to Bray Wyatt, and where is that going to go? Taker's retired. He's not going to wrestle another match, maybe, but is this going to affect this dark match that they're having at the Rumble. Is the Undertaker Uncle Howdy? Well, we know he's not Uncle Howdy, but is the Undertaker now involved with all of this stuff? I don't know. But a lot of fans I've heard have complained that the Bray Wyatt thing, he returned, and I remember hearing all this fanfare, and I haven't heard much about it for the past month. So a lot of people are saying that Bray Wyatt comes back in, he gets all this fanfare, and then it drops off like a rock at the bottom of the ocean. So hopefully this revitalizes some interest in what Bray Wyatt's doing with his character right now. The other big thing was the trial of Sami Zayn by the Bloodline, which I thought this is the best. This segment, the Bloodline Sami Zayn stuff, is not only carrying the show, it was the best thing on the show. It's carrying WWE right now. Without that storyline, I don't know if the goodwill of WWE is great, because otherwise the rest of the stuff I saw on the show was like, it's okay, but this is where the bread is buttered with WWE right now with this Bloodline storyline, which has been going on for like 9 months now, and they're milking it for everything it's worth, and they're doing a great job of it. It is so intriguing. It is so well written. This is good. This is just good storytelling just from start to finish with this thing. Every week there's a new wrinkle in it. This week, Sami's on trial. Roman doesn't trust him now. Paul Heyman plays the role of prosecutor, and he shows all this evidence of Sami Zayn. He's conspiring with Kevin Owens to, I don't know, to take over the Bloodline, like as if that would work. And even Sami Zayn said that didn't make any sense. But then when it looks like Roman had enough, Roman was a little intimidating in this one too. I gotta say, he's playing the role of the head of the table, the kind of the crime boss of this mafia family very, very well. And he said, "Man, I'm sick of this, Solo." And Solo gets over there. He's about to lay down the spike on Sami Zayn. Sami's about to take it, and then of all people, Jey Uso saves Sami Zayn. And then Jey Uso prepared his own video package of like 5 times that Sami Zayn had taken a bullet from him. In fact, he called Sami Zayn, "Yo, you bulletproof Uso," all this stuff. The crowd is all into. And this is one of the few times in the night where the crowd was just crazy for everything. And essentially, Sami bought himself some time, as Roman said. He said, "You better think Jey, because he bought you some time. But I don't want to see you until Saturday at the Royal Rumble, and then you'll have your final test." And Sami Zayn did a like, huh? And I did a huh? Because what is Roman talking about this final test at the Royal Rumble? So we're going to see that happen. And again, the intrigue that I don't know who's doing this now. I'm assuming it's Triple H and his people are still having their hands in this thing. And Heyman probably obviously has his hands in this too, but they're doing a great job of bringing intrigue and getting you to want to see the next thing, to see where the next part of this epic storyline, which I say right now, this storyline and the one with MJF and CM Punk last year have been the 2 best storylines in all of wrestling over the last 3 years. And this one's still going on. We're going to see where it wraps up at and what the next step is going to be at the Royal Rumble. This later led to a tag match where the Usos were defending the tag titles against Judgment Day. Jimmy got hurt. They were going to throw out the match. The Usos would have had to forfeit the tag titles, but Sami stepped in, became the tag partner with Jey of all people, and him and Jey defeated Judgment Day, retained the WWE Tag Team Championships. And they cut back to Roman, who's watching it on camera, and he tells him, he's like, "Keep him away from me until Saturday. I don't want to see him until Saturday." So this, again, as fans, and WWE's playing us too, as much as in the storyline, they kind of know how this usually goes, that Sami's setting them up, or maybe Roman setting up Sami or something, and they know in the storyline, and we as fans know, but they've done a great job of not tipping their hat as to, is Sami really playing a secret double agent here, or is Roman going to turn Sami on him? How's Jey going to feel about it? What's going to happen to Jey if it turns out that Sami Zayn is a mole, essentially, in the Bloodline? Now that he's went from hating Sami Zayn, being the only guy that didn't want Sami in it, now he's one of the few ones backing Sami Zayn. So all of this is really good. This is the part I'm looking forward to most at the Royal Rumble, and I will be watching the Royal Rumble 4 coming up this Saturday. We also had the return of Brock Lesnar. We also had a funny segment where Kurt Angle took the place of Billy Gunn in the DX little thing. But again, that is the one criticism I have about this. It's like every single one of these kind of retro anniversary shows, old school shows, they always kind of hit the same beats. You got to get the DX thing. You got to get either Austin or Hogan in there. You got to get Ted DiBiase. You got to get Ron Simmons saying "damn." It's usually the same kind of they're usually doing the same shtick over and over again. But ultimately, It was one of the highest gates for WWE, this Raw 30 gate. So and the ratings were out through the roof. So hats off to them. They did a good job with the show as far as the business side of it is concerned, and as far as the Bloodline stuff and what's going on with Undertaker and Bray Wyatt. Those are the two main things that I'm interested in heading into Royal Rumble this coming Saturday. It's not the only WWE news going on. Nick Khan had an interview where he basically he acted as if this whole thing with Vince was, oh yeah, I expected him to do. We all expected him to come back, despite the fact that Nick Khan was on the board that voted, and everybody has pointed this out. You were on the board that voted Vince out. And now he's like, oh, it was, of course, it's Vince. WWE's Vince. We always expected him to come back. We always wanted him to come back. He's the one boss of this company. Nick Khan is an interesting guy, but you can see why he has his position. He also took a few shots at Tony Khan, which is warranted because Tony Khan took shots at him like a year or two ago. So all fair in love and war. Some other tidbits and notes in the WWE world. Matt Cardona, who was not at Raw 30, people did expect him to maybe show up. He's still filing for trademarks and stuff from his WWE character. And something that I was really surprised at is in the tribute to the women's division, the Bellas of all people pointed out the fact that they did not include Sasha Banks, who is now Mercedes Mone, who's wrestling in New Japan right now. Again, that still baffles my mind, but they cut her out of it. They didn't include her in anything. So the Bella twins of all people spoke up for Sasha and took up for her and said it's kind of effed up that they did not include her and some other women in this montage and this tribute to the female wrestlers, the divas, the women's revolution, which Sasha Banks was at the forefront of 6 or 7 years ago in WWE. But that's it. That's all the news and rumors I've got right now for WWE. Of course, they're heading into Friday Night SmackDown show. And then, of course, Saturday, the Royal Rumble, one of my favorite. I think it is my number 1A or number 2 favorite WWE pay-per-view. It's the one that I make sure I watch every year. I make sure I watch WrestleMania, I make sure I watch SummerSlam, and I make sure I watch the Royal Rumble, because the Rumble concept itself, even if the match is bad, is still an entertaining concept. It's one of the few things that WWE has that I, no matter what, I will actually watch it. So I want to know what you guys think about this stuff. Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. And also let me know, who's your pick for the Royal Rumble? This is a pick 'em year for the Royal Rumble. I don't know. It could be Cody. It could be Sami Zayn. It could be any number of people that could win the Rumble this year. Let your voice be heard in the comment box about that. Until then, I will see you guys here for more news, rumors, and commentary here on the Rant and Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.